This is, again, we're really, really excited to have these Q&A panels. We had an excellent one last night as well. And again, just so great to put, again, faces towards the folks that put these incredible works together. We have some folks in the cast. We've had directors, producers, all sorts of roles involved. And again, really love to hear your questions and find out more about the films. So what we're going to do here first, we're going to start at the far end away from me. Everyone has a microphone. Please just hold it close to your mouth when speaking. Please let us know your name, where you're from, the film you're involved with, and your role with the film.
My name is Zach. Sean and I and Ginger did the ride. Sorry, I'm introducing all of us. We did the ride and we're from Vancouver.
Zach directed, and I wrote and starred in, and Ginger.
I produced the movie. And my name is Ginger Page, and I'm also from Vancouver.
My name is Arnold, and I was the director, writer, co-writer of 옵스큐라.
My name is Chaeeun, and I was an actor for Eugene for Whipping Fig.
Hi, my name's Willow, Sereda-Meichel. I live here in Nanaimo, and I was production designer also in Weeping Fig.
Hi, my name is Sohee. I'm a director, writer, producer for the Whipping Fig.
Thank you, everyone. And yes, welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right. So if you have a question, again, just throw your hand up in the air. All right. It's right in front of us here. We'll get a microphone sent down to you. Oh, perfect. Right over there.
Hi. I really liked all the films, but I have a question for the writer of 옵스큐라. The director of 옵스큐라, sorry. Did you use actual camera 옵스큐라 for the film, or was it too unreliable and you used a projector or something like that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we originally tested with an actual camera 옵스큐라. So the opportunity to do that was something that I really wanted to try because I grew up on film and made camera 옵스큐ras as a kid. But unfortunately, the relative luminosity that came off of an actual camera 옵스큐라 and the ability for our cameras, even the very good cameras today, to for that to expose the sensor wasn't quite enough. So we actually had to make a projector, and we had to shoot the film twice. So we had to shoot the exterior stuff 2 weeks before we shot the most of the film, and then we took that footage of the outside and the grandpa and the time lapse and all the stuff that was outside, and then we processed that, brought it back, put it on a projector on a computer. So there's someone hiding behind the wall, literally with a computer, and operating the 옵스큐라 from inside the wall. And then we shot the interiors with the live 옵스큐라 being played while the acting was happening.
All right, next question. Looking around. Oh, way over there up in the top corner. We'll get a microphone sent up there. We want folks listening to live stream to be able to hear the question as well. That's why we're doing that. The acoustics are great here, though.
This is for Arnold. Did you do My Name is Arnold last year or something around that name that was here?
Yes, that was me.
I love that movie. Also, for the director of Weeping Fig, what was the original, what was the very first idea behind that? Like the very first thought that created everything?
The very first idea was I wanted to make a zombie movie. And then it didn't go well with because it was a union, we had a union actor, so we had to write a script very fast. And when I sent to the UVCP, you need a stunt, and there was so many things that it required with blood and all of that. So we shifted a little bit more of a psychological path. Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Actually, speaking on that, I'm going to extend that question over to anyone from the ride. And I'm interested to know, was the original script, was the idea to have the main characters having no dialogue until the very end?
It kind of initially just turned out that way. And then we were like, wow, that's actually meaningful. Because obviously my husband and I did not have much of a say throughout the process. So when we realized, oh, we don't have any lines in this, that's kind of cool. And then it kind of worked out.
All right, next question from the audience. Scanning around. Oh, sorry, right up. Oh, yeah, the president. Don't get him mad. All right. Oh, don't do that again. Okay, sorry. No, stop. After the after party, all the performance.
This is a question for Arnold. I was wondering about the relative obscurity of people understanding the idea of shut-ins in Western culture and the way that you think about the movie when you're showing it to audiences and you hear the reactions kind of in the room of like whether people have sympathy for him or not. I noticed in this showing, and I haven't seen any of your other showings, it felt like people were like, yeah, you tell him, Grandpa, you get that kid to bed. And there's not a lot of sympathy until the end of the movie. I was wondering if you wanted to talk a little bit about like that idea of how that's culturally important and different in different areas and maybe ways that people react to it differently.
Yeah, it's actually been quite different for every screening. Essentially, what we want to do is like one of the thematic statement for the film that I wanted to kind of lean into was a quote by Rumi, and I'm going to butcher the quote, but it's like the quote is that it's not just for us to seek for love, but for us to remove all barriers within ourselves for us to receive it. And when we made the movie, what we did was we made a film essentially in one spot, in one location, and because of budget limitations, that's something that we want to do, and we kind of in many ways have no choice but to do. And we wanted to use that motif, and we built up barriers. Like every time they're speaking through a door, or they're looking at somebody through something, they're looking through a peephole, or the way that he sees the outside world and connects with the outside world is seeing that projection on the wall. And so those elements were how we wanted to communicate what our thematic statement was, and how we wanted them in the movie to communicate to each other. And your question about the cultural impact of that is very interesting because, growing up in certain Asian cultures, I think it's sometimes can be harsh in the way that they deal with these challenges, whether it be mental health challenges or because going back in many places, the way that they handled it was quite different. I want to show some of that generational divide, but come to a point at the end where there was not a situation where he was, cured. That's not what it is. He's still in the room at the end, but I wanted to show one small little bit of connection, and that happened between him and his sister in a way that they understand each other just maybe 1 or 2% more, where they're still not, things aren't exactly right, but where there's a little bit of growth in both those characters. And that's the way that we looked at how we want to create the character arc and the story arc of the film.
Yeah, I do more.
All right, scanning around for next questions. Any hands up? Do. Yes, right down in the front over here. Perfect.
I loved all of the films. All beautifully shot. The three that are represented up here, especially. I'm curious where Weeping Fig, especially, was shot. That set looked like huge. Well, it's not a set. Obviously, it's a real place, or maybe not. Also, were the horses real? Yeah. So where was that shot, and like how?
I was very lucky to have a friend. I don't know how. I just knew her home. She's my friend in Cobble Hill, and I was actually wanted to register for the 48-hour run and gun festival, but I ended up sleeping, slept over, so I forgot to register. We ended up just working as an independent film, and I had this location. So for the running gun, we only could have a cruise and the gears and location. So I had the location with my friend. So this whole community, we had a kind of 4 houses of community was sharing this whole beautiful forest. So I was very lucky. Uh, she she lived with a landlord, and I got all the permission from the community that I was able to shoot there. And the horses are real. The chickens, it was a coincidence. We were shooting with the horses, and suddenly at the end we were about to wrap, and one of my crew member, and then we heard this weird sound, and then one of the crew member ran to us. The chicken is dead. Oh, no, the chicken is eaten by this cougar or something. And I was like, what? And let's run. So we went. Then Riley, he's our DP. Then Riley, let's go shoot. And then we saw it amazing. So we shot it was like all one take, and it was and it was perfect for our theme where we were talking about the death can happen anytime, and that the death with the chicken was, obviously very heartbreaking, but it was the right moment, and we were very lucky. And horses too, we had a lovely location man who owned the house. She know how to wrangle the horses. It was a funny story. I was below the trees, and my DP was above the trees, and he saw some horses. He was, Sohee, can you make the horses move? And I couldn't see the horses. I was like, where is the horses? And she's like, can you make? I see the horses there. We were kind of arguing back and forth like for 30 minutes, and I couldn't. I just wanted to get over with this shot, and she was like, he so believed in the horses. So we had to call the landlord, and then it was most beautiful scene of this film. So I thank him pushing me hard.
Only in restaurants and filmmaking can you say, the chicken died, we were very lucky. All right, next question from the audience. Yes, right in the middle there.
There it is. This one's for Arnold. I was just wondering if that was a real location or a set build, and if there was ever a script reason why he didn't want to come out of the room, or if that was intentionally ambiguous.
Yeah, so a couple of questions there. So first of all, we had to do a set build, and one of the things that I try to do every time I make a film is to try to do something that I've never done before, and it was the very first time that I've ever done a set build. So essentially, we shot that at a old school that had been decommissioned, and so that was an office. So they built walls and turned that one area into his room, and then where he looks through, that was actually real. But what we did was we turned like a hallway into like their home. So it's like a bit of an L shaped where you're able to look back and forth. Because essentially we had to shoot it's challenging to kind of make a film visually interesting when you're shooting inside a room for pretty much the entire film. So we tried to introduce different shots, and that's how we did that back and forth shot. And essentially, we turned a little corner of a school into this bedroom and a house, and we planned it exactly in a very specific way in a specific part of the school, so we're able to accomplish all the shots that we were trying to accomplish. And sorry, what was your second part of that question?
I was just wondering if there was ever a script reason why he didn't want to come out, or if that was ambiguous.
Yeah, so it was a little bit ambiguous, but in the film, in Korea, it's one of the dark secrets about Korea is that there's a lot of beauty in Korea, but they are one of they're the country with the highest rates of suicide among developed countries in the entire world. And so they alluded to school. Like you can be able to, the grandfather at one point says, you can go back to school. You missed a year. You can still do it. You can still do it. And he's encouraging his grandson, because his mother, who's coincidentally her real mother, yeah, and she was the sister of the person I cast in My Name is Arnold. So it's kind of funny to be sitting next to her. Yeah. And so it was. So that's kind of the way that was crafted. In school it's one of the highest reasons that people do unfortunately commit suicide there. So there was a little bit of an alluding to that. We didn't want to specify it too much, leave it a little bit vague, but that's the general idea of it. Yeah.
All right, so we have time for just one more question, though, of course, we can always chat with the filmmakers in the lobby afterwards. But yeah, before we get to our voting and award ceremony, last question over up there.
To the people from the ride, it was a great movie, and I wanted to ask, was it very hard to put your personal journey on the big screen?
First of all, thank you for asking us a question.
We don't want to see news.
We're a little needy. It's okay. This goes.
Because it's my personal story. My journey, right? The hero's journey or whatever. It was more. We've been Zach and I have been writing together for quite a while, and we're having hoops of trying to figure out what we could get made and what we'd want to get made and what we'd want to do. And I think it was Zach's partner, Rita, over at a dinner party was like, why don't you do something about your surrogacy journey? Because it was a 6-year process from beginning to end. Well, no, and it hasn't ended because my daughter's still here. That was a weird thing. She's 3 now. But yeah, so she's in bed sleeping. But yeah, so it wasn't anything. For me, it was just something I wanted to show our story because it's not something that's talked about a lot. It is something that's completely misunderstood. The things that in the script are called the knuckleheads, I think, at the party who say the kind of ignorant things. Those were things that were literally said to us by family members who were like, so your mom's just going to give you that baby? And you're like, what? How do you not know what the surrogacy is? So it was something that we wanted to get out there too, to get conversations about surrogacy and kind of how other people have children outside of the norm, I guess. It wasn't hard. No, the answer was no, not hard.
Oh, beautiful family, absolutely, and really happy that the birthday cake scene in your film ended a lot differently than the birthday cake scene in L'Anniversaire, that's for sure. Alrighty then, we have to wrap this up so we can get to our People's Choice votings and our Goldies Award ceremony, and of course our social afterwards. Please, everyone, a big round of applause for all of our filmmakers joining us here this evening.